Good afternoon, and I am Jacqueline Clements, the student in the oral communications class. I am introducing the interviewee who can introduce herself.
My name is Tyler. I'm her daughter.
Okay, so my interview is going to deal with questions surrounding what it's like to be in Generation Z. Okay, Tyler, so can you tell us what Generation Z is?
I think it's people born like the generation right after millennials. It's like 1995 or 1997 to 2010. That's what I think the age range is.
Okay, so that's the demographics of the group.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the characteristics of Generation Z, as we're told, other generations, about Generation Z?
I think y'all just think we're on our phones all the time. That's pretty much it. But, I mean, well, I would say we're more aware, engaged in a lot of political things. I guess that's all I can think of at the moment. Just we're more engaged and aware of things than your old generation.
So are you saying that engagement is also what makes you different from other generations?
Yeah, because we lose a lot of our youth very early. I don't think we got the chance to like grow up like normal generations did. Like go outside and play with jacks or whatever. I don't think we got that chance really.
So what would you say is positive about being part of Generation Z?
The fact that we understand a lot about the world before we actually go out and like go out to work. Like we see so many things like on Twitter, on Instagram or whatever, and we know like what we're able to be faced with, even though we're not being faced with it ourselves, but we know what is possible to be.
And so are you saying that's a positive or a negative?
I'm saying it's a positive, so some things won't be like you won't be as caught off guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on other generations?
I think they're okay. I just think they're a little bit, like, too judgmental. Because, like, example, your generation, y'all always be like, oh, blah, 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 always on your phones and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, a generation before you would have said the same thing. Like, I don't know what y'all had, but, for example, like, my sister's generation.
Which is?
Generation X or Generation Y? One of them. But
millennials.
Yeah, millennials, I guess. Or people like born in like the punk era, like people before them would have been saying like, oh, these kids always listening to punk music and blah blah blah.
Okay.
But then they would listen to Chuck Berry and their parents would probably say, oh, this is some rebellious music. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the great uses of technology? I guess you've already shared that with us by stating that you can go out into the world. So, what are some of the abuses of technology you see?
Well, in my generation, we abuse technology like within schools. Like sometimes a teacher will allow us to get on our phones and actually use it for work, but some people will just use it to get on the internet and talk to their friends and other classes.
Would that include you?
No.
Okay.
Well, yes, but no. I only do it when I like feel I don't have any work to do. I'm just bored.
Okay. So, as far as the future in Generation Z, what would you say? How you contribute socially in the future? You think?
In the future, I think we are all a little bit more economically conservative. I'm not.
Even though you don't have any money.
Yes,
okay.
I swear we are
okay.
Because like we see like there's like posts all the time like memes about how earlier generations want us to like do better, but y'all have messed up the economy and like everything else. And I think we just have a better grasp on like how not to mess up the economy.
Okay, so and this is what I'm going to add to this interview, just to let you know, moving forward, as far as what Generation Z can contribute. Understand that you are getting all of your information from technological sources, social media, internet, but it's all on paper, basically.
Yeah.
Like it's not in practice, just in theory. So Generation Z, I guess, is a theory generation where they've conquered everything already.
In theory?
In theory. Anyway, I'm just being funny.
I know.
So, pop culture for Generation Z. How is it? How do you think it's different?
Well, I think there's a lot more. Well, I think there's a lot more attention on how people's bodies look instead of like if they're an actor, how they act, or if they're a musician, how they sing or how they play their instrument. I also think there's more.
So more superficial.
Yeah, a little bit more superficial. Also, I think.
I guess it's always been superficial, but you're saying even more so. Can you give me an example?
Like now, it's all about like clout and like how much clout someone has, like how many followers you have, what your engagement level is like, or if you're an artist, like how well you do on charts. So like if you don't chart if your album's not #1 when it comes out, like you flop, your album flopped. It's just a lot more based on statistics and like superficial numbers and stuff like that.
Okay, so where do you see yourself in 20 years as a Generation Zer, along with fellow Generation Zers? What do you think society will be like?
Well, I think
for the positive side. Positive side?
The positive side?
With Generation Z in charge and running things?
I don't know.
Well,
I think things would be a lot more understandable to me because people from my generation will be doing things, and I think we'll be able to understand. Because now we're kids and we don't understand everything adults do, but when I'm an adult, I think it'll be easier for me to understand how people themselves are doing things. Like if somebody would put something in place to avoid something that happened when I was a kid, I would understand that more than somebody putting something in place now that would have affected your generation.
So you would have the benefit of having had experiences.
Yeah.
Experience, what you're saying.
Yeah.
And to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess also this Generation Z would be in practice with all the theory that they're gathering now. So I thank you so much for joining us. I welcome the feedback from all my classmates. Hope it's not too late to receive feedback. I just wanted to make sure I posted a topic that was more focused, which is Generation Z. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.